In this series, I'm going to go through every NFL coach and see how hot their seats are. While some of their chairs might be frozen, others might be a little hot. And I'm going to be ranking them from a 1 to a 5. 1 being there's absolutely no chance that a coach will get fired, and a 5 being, yeah, this dude's probably gone. All right. Now, before I go to the NFC side and rank the hot seat levels of the head coaches over there, let's do a quick correction. For Mike Tomlin, I'm not joking. I think about 10 seconds after I posted this video, the Steelers signed him to a 3-year extension. So I'm just going to say right now, Mike Tomlin is a 1. That's a quick edit that we'll make right now. On the NFC side, we're going to start with head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Mike McCarthy. On a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 4. I thought after this playoff loss, he was done. I thought he was screwed, and that later we would hear that Bill Belichick was going to take over his coaching role. But it turns out Jerry Jones is not as obsessed with winning as we all thought he was. There's an element where I do feel bad for Mike McCarthy, in a situation where he's won 12 consecutive, he's won 12 games in 3 consecutive seasons, but this team keeps having Super Bowl or bust potential, and they're not even getting to the NFC Championship game. And with the Dak Prescott contract situation, the running back situation being pretty terrible, and them saying that they're all in, but I'm not seeing all in here. I feel like Mike McCarthy's job is in danger, and I can see a very good shot that he gets fired this year if the team doesn't at least make it to the NFC Championship. What a difference a year makes. Nick Sirianni, head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 5. Nick Sirianni was flying high, talking shit to everybody who would listen. Ever since he did this and he talked crap, the team basically self-destructed. And here's the big thing with the Philadelphia Eagles. They have no qualms with moving off of coaches who have had success with them. Andy Reid would be fired by Jeffrey Lurie. And the Eagles had no problems firing the first coach to ever deliver them a Lombardi trophy. It was clear by anyone that watched that team this year that Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen were the real heroes of this team. I just think if they flounder out the gate, I could definitely see him being the first coach fired, which is a crazy fall from grace for the guy that I think a lot of people thought was the wonder kid. Ryan Daboll, head coach of the New York Giants, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 4. I got to say at this point, if you're a head coach who wins coach of the year, don't get too comfortable at your job because, Jesus, this is a bad run. Stefanski still has his job. Daboll, we'll see. Vrabel, fired. Matt Nagy, fired. Jason Garrett, fired. Ron Rivera, fired. Bruce Arians, fired. It's crazy to say, but I think the year that they made the playoffs, surprisingly, may have actually ruined the rebuild because it causes them to pay Daniel Jones an amount of money that they should have absolutely not paid the 25th best quarterback, Daniel Jones. I also think it got a little bit unrealistic expectations with the squad, and when they struggled this year, and they were terrible. You got to hope Malik Neighbors can come in and provide some spark, and there is promise. I mean, he is considered to be one of the top rookie receivers coming into this year, but is one receiver going to be enough to fix a team that has a ton of issues? And when your number one offensive talent is now a Philadelphia Eagle, that hurts. Washington Commanders' new head coach, Dan Quinn, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 2. Listen, I love Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera is a fellow Seaside native like myself, but this team was completely rudderless with Ron Rivera as the head coach. I think some were disappointed with the hiring of Dan Quinn. I've heard rumors that Ben Johnson was supposed to be their number one target, but I think Dan Quinn coming in is going to be a real stabilizing force. Jaden Daniels is going to be a hell of a force at quarterback. I'm definitely envisioning a 2012 Washington Commanders resurgence like they had with RG3. I think Jaden has the talent to be that kind of game-changing quarterback for that squad. And the only reason I give it a 2 instead of a 1 like I have for other first-year head coaches is new ownership. You never know if they get a wild hair up their ass and decide, maybe that wasn't the right move, or maybe he completely craps the bed and they're a 1-16 team. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Dan Quinn's going to lead the Washington Commanders to the playoffs. A little bit of a surprise. I'm looking forward to see what he does with that team this year. Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 1. So I'll be honest on this one. I made fun of Dan Campbell a lot. I think most of the media did, especially after that ridiculous opening press conference.
We're going to smile at you, and when you knock us down, we're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off, all right? And we're going to stand up, and then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down.
And guess what? He was right. I mean, that's on us. I think that's on me especially. I can't apologize for all of media or people that create NFL content. We were absolutely wrong about Dan Campbell. This dude has built a freaking winner. He's a ballsy guy that gives absolutely no fucks, and he will he will go for it on 4th down. He will do the unpopular things if he thinks it gives his team the best chance to win. And these Detroit Lions have been unstoppable for essentially the last year and a half. And as a 49er fan who desperately wants to see my team win a Super Bowl, I know in the NFC that they are going to be our number 1 threat. And they had us. Head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, Kevin O'Connell, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 2. Kevin O'Connell had a tough year last year. His starting quarterback popped his Achilles. He had Jaron Hall, Nick Mullins, and Joshua Dobbs after being on the roster for about 4 days, taking meaningful snaps in games that were important. While the season might have been disappointing for them, they showed a lot of heart, playing their asses off and nearly making it to the playoffs. And now with J.J. McCarthy in, the highly drafted first-round quarterback, he's also got Sam Darnold as the starter for now. We are headed to a very interesting time with Kevin O'Connell, and how he deals with the quarterback play is what's going to determine if he can keep his job a few years down the line. Matt LaFleur, head coach of the Green Bay Packers, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 1. What he was able to do with the Green Bay Packers team that was supposed to be rebuilding was absolutely unbelievable. Matt LaFleur never got credit for helping with Aaron Rodgers' resurrection and helping Jordan Love play like he's a 7-year vet. Matt LaFleur is like magic. I mean, the dude may be the best coach in the NFC, maybe the best coach in the NFL if your name's not Andy Reid. Matt Eberflus, head coach of the Chicago Bears, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 4. If this team doesn't make the playoffs, Matt Eberflus is gone. It's as simple as that. They have surrounded this kid with so much talent that if they don't make the playoffs, or at bare minimum, they're not in contention for a playoff spot, then Matt Eberflus is gone. 100%. Todd Bowles, head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 3. I thought this team was going to be the worst team in football, and I thought that Todd Bowles would lose his job. They beat the crap out of the former NFC champions of 2022. They gave the NFC runner-up everything they had. The Buccaneers were able to bring back basically everybody. And the rest of the NFC South really hasn't improved that much. So after saying all of that, why do I think Todd Bowles is still a 3? I'm going to be frank, I just don't think Todd Bowles is a very good head coach. And I will say, not calling those timeouts at the end of the divisional round was absolutely insane. That team had a chance at least to take a couple shots, and they basically quit. I could see Tampa wanting to bring in an offensive head coach and really try to take this team to the next level, because that's when this team seems to do the best, is when they have offensive head coaches leading the way. Dennis Allen, head coach of the New Orleans Saints, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 3. You know, I thought this dude was going to be an unmitigated disaster, especially with how awful of a head coach he was in Oakland. But he's led them to be okay. I don't know if fine is good enough, and I think with the way that this team is going, with how they're going to be in cap hell, I think it's very likely that Dennis Allen will be scapegoat by Mickey Loomis, basically playing credit card with the salary cap. Raheem Morris, head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 3. This is another situation where it has nothing to do with Raheem Morris. I don't care about his time, like how he was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a head coach. This more has to do with organizationally, how they just don't feel like they're rowing in the same direction. I just have a strong feeling that if this year's a disaster, Arthur Blank might just decide to get rid of the whole brain trust. And then unfortunately, I think Raheem Morris would be the baby thrown out with the bathwater. Also, I will say I'm still stunned that they passed over Bill Belichick for Raheem Morris. Dave Canales, head coach of the Carolina Panthers, on a scale of 1 to 5. Let's keep the sweep. Another 3. I mean, they can't fire another guy in their first year, right? But when you have an owner who's not known for being a very cool-headed individual, I just wouldn't be stunned if he becomes another casualty of the David Tepper taking over the role of Dan Snyder as being the worst owner in the NFL. Kyle Shanahan, 49ers head coach, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 2. You know, someday maybe I'll show footage from that Super Bowl again, or I'll grab clips and stuff. I can't do it. I can't do it. Maybe if I get to a ton of subscribers, maybe that'll be a live stream where you guys can see me suffer. Kyle Shanahan is a really smart guy. I mean, continually has his teams competing in great games, but his ego and the fact that he will never accept humility and thinks and have any belief that he should change what he does. It's clear that he's stuck in his ways, and he is the new Andy Reid. The 49ers are now the new Eagles, and when Andy Reid was there. Kyle Shanahan can get you close, but he can't get you all the way there. So, is Brock Purdy his Patrick Mahomes? We gotta hope so, but I have now seen 3 Super Bowl losses in my lifetime. We are becoming the Buffalo Bills of the NFC. Mike McDonald, head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 1. Mike McDonald has big shoes to fill, taking over from Pete Carroll, Super Bowl winning head coach, probably the greatest head coach in Seattle Seahawks history. And from what I've been able to see from his defense, everybody says this guy is an innovative defensive mind, something that the Seattle Seahawks love in their head coaches. And with how good the offenses are in their division, you're going to have to have a dude who has a great defensive mind. So I think there's no chance he gets fired this year. Seattle, excluding Jim Mora, they don't have a history of firing coaches after the first year. Sean McVay, head coach of the Los Angeles Rams, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 1. Again, there's no chance he gets fired, but will Sean McVay be there next year? That's the rub in Los Angeles right now. But I think the success of Puka Nacua, the fact that they were a surprising playoff team last year, is going to keep Sean McVay hungry. Now, they did have some major losses, losing future Hall of Famer Aaron Donald. I see no chance Sean McVay getting fired by the Los Angeles Rams. Jonathan Gannon, head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give him a 2. After this cringy introduction, I think everybody was ready to bury this guy, but he had the Arizona Cardinals playing really good football at the end of the year when they could have completely given up. My most watched video on TikTok last year was this crazy game where the Cardinals were able to come back. And I give that team a lot of credit. They could have given up, and they didn't. And that is the measure of a coach who, at least, Dan Campbell was very similar to that. The Lions were really bad, and he kept them playing well in games when they were completely out of playoff contention. So I want to see what their team is like with a full season of everyone being healthy. Do you disagree with my list? Let me know in the comments. Put in the coaches that you think are going to lose their job next year. And yeah, football season is right around the corner. Can't wait.